First tonight at 5, what police are telling us about an early morning shooting in Sun Prairie.
And the Madison mayor unveiling a proposed 2026 operating budget, how Satya Rhodes Conway's plan will impact taxpayers.
Plus, the UW system could be getting rid of its ethnic studies requirements. Why some students are skeptical about the reasons for that change. You're watching News 3 now at 5.
And thanks for staying with us. Now, this is the type of weather we are accustomed to at this time of year.
A beautiful afternoon out there. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano joins us. It's nice and sunny and warm now, but there might be a little frost on the pumpkin overnight.
Yeah, we could be seeing some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in months here in southern Wisconsin, but we're still not at that point yet. Right now, we are seeing very sunny skies and very comfortable temperatures. I mean, right here, we can barely even see a cloud in the sky, and this has really been the case throughout the entire day. Temperatures have easily been in the 60s as well, middle to upper 60s right now. Now, these are going to drop very quickly in the evening and overnight. We're going to see temperatures in the 50s for much of the evening, especially once we get to sunset. And those temperatures are going to continue to fall into the 30s for much of the area, especially for areas north of Madison, where some locations could actually drop it near, if not below, freezing. Now, this will lead to the potential for some frost to develop. Places north of Madison are under a frost advisory from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. But just because Dane County and areas to the south are not under the frost advisory doesn't mean we can't see frost. So just be aware of that. All of our area has the possibility to see that frost, but areas to the north are the most likely. And those dark blues you see further north in central and northern Wisconsin, those are freeze warnings, as those areas are expected to get completely below freezing. So a very cold night tonight. We're going to have a few other cold nights as fall-like temperatures continue for the most part. I'll take you through the full forecast for the rest of the week coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Right now, Sun Prairie police are investigating an overnight shooting that left one person injured. Officers were called to the area of Sunfield Street and Sun Court. This was just before 1 this morning for reports of shots fired. At the scene, police recovered evidence suggesting a shooting occurred between two vehicles before they left the scene. One person went to the hospital with a gunshot wound. They were treated, later released. If anyone has any information about the incident, you're asked to call the Sun Prairie Police Department.
The family of a student injured in the Abundant Life Christian School shooting last December has launched a GoFundMe to support his recovery. Samuel Garduno Martinez was shot multiple times, including in the head, arm, and back. He developed encephalitis during his recovery, was put in a coma, and remains in intensive care, now requiring 24-hour support. His next step is specialized rehabilitation near Chicago, where his family will accompany him. A GoFundMe has a $140,000 goal, and you can find a link under this story on channel3000.com.
Today, City of Madison residents get a first look at how city resources will be funded next year. Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway unveiling the first executive operating budget plan for 2026.
Our Ellie LaLiberte shows us what it could mean for your wallet. Ellie?
Well, Susan and Eric, according to the mayor, this budget is the lowest tax increase in about 40 years. So what that means is the average home in Madison will see property taxes increase by about $30 a year. That's compared to last year's roughly $230. The mayor released next year's nearly $452 million budget today to fund personnel and services across the city. It comes after voters approved a referendum to increase the levy limit last year when the budget was in a shortfall. However, this year, Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway says the city is working proactively to address what she says is underfunding at the state level.
That additional revenue from the referendum was critical in providing flexibility in our city budget while we continue to lobby for fair treatment of local governments at the state level. We are also strategically using the city's reserves to help cover the structural deficit gap that state law has imposed on us for the past 14 years.
This budget also increases spending for the city by roughly 5% compared to last year. That increase is partly from the 3% raises for some city employees and safety personnel. Now, this is not the final budget. It still has to go through several finance committee sessions and common council hearings before the final version will be adopted in January.
Ellie, thank you. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul announces that he will not run for governor. Instead, he is seeking a third term. Kaul is nearly 3/4 of the way through his second term. In 2018, he defeated incumbent Republican Brad Schimmel for the position and also held off a challenge from Republican Eric Toney in 2022. We spoke with Call about his decision to run again rather than seek the governor's office.
There's a real opportunity right now for attorneys general to do a lot of important work. A lot of critical issues are being decided in the courts right now.
Republican Eric Toney is expected to run again in the upcoming election.
This afternoon, Wisconsin Republican lawmakers talked about a slate of bills that centered on increasing affordable housing. The bills aim to boost the supply side, encouraging smaller lots, streamlined regulations, and faster approval processes. Lawmakers say the effort brings together builders, realtors, and local governments to address the growing demand for affordable housing.
The average age right now for first-time home buyers is about 39 years old. To buy a median-priced home, you need about $171,000 in income now. That's actually startling to me. So the homes that my parents were able to buy, my grandparents were able to buy, just aren't available anymore.
Well, during the meeting, lawmakers also discussed a bill aimed at cracking down on fraudulent service animal certifications. The proposed legislation seeks to clarify and distinguish between trained service animals and emotional support animals, ensuring that only legitimate service animals receive legal protections.
In a meeting this afternoon, Senator Tammy Baldwin spoke about the ongoing government shutdown and its impact on health care costs for Wisconsin families. Over 270,000 Wisconsinites rely on the Affordable Care Act tax breaks, and a new Kaiser Family Foundation poll found 78% of Americans, including a majority of Republicans, Democrats, and independents, support extending the tax credits. Senator Baldwin highlighted the struggles faced by families and small businesses as premiums are set to rise.
An estimated 4 million Americans are going to get that letter and realize that they simply cannot afford health care at all anymore. Small business owners might see staff flee for big corporations that can afford a big group insurance policy.
Senator Baldwin also called on her Republican colleagues to work with Democrats to reopen the government and lower health care costs, emphasizing the urgent need for bipartisan action.
Most Americans should still be able to get a COVID vaccine for free. Most private insurers and Medicaid will cover vaccines recommended by the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices at no cost through next year. But the CDC has added an extra hurdle to get the shot. People who want it must now consult with a health care provider first, but a prescription is not necessarily needed. And Costco is now selling weight loss drugs at lower prices. Ozempic and Wegovy can now be purchased from Costco pharmacies for $499 for a 1-month supply. That's less than half the total price when the products are purchased elsewhere. Some Costco members can get additional discounts too. The drugs are appetite suppressants, which cause people to eat less and in most cases lose weight as a result.
With the holiday shopping season right around the corner, Amazon is holding its second Prime sales event of the year. Amazon says Prime Big Deal Days include millions of items, many with double-digit discounts. Observers say the online retail giant's own private labels are playing a big part.
You see things like the Amazon Echo Buds or the Amazon Fire Tablet with up to 50 to 70% off listed price. And again, that's because it is their private label, right, which gives them that extra flexibility.
According to Adobe, overall U.S. online sales are forecast to surpass $253 billion this holiday season. That's up more than 5% from last year. Walmart and Target are both planning sales promotions in the coming days.
Still to come at 5, Texas National Guard troops are deployed to Illinois.
And it's been a week since the government shut down, why the White House says it may not pay furloughed workers after the deadlock is over.
And later at 5, the Packers have come up a bit short of expectations in their first 4 games. Now head coach Matt LaFleur is looking to turn that around. And red numbers on Wall Street today, the Dow Jones falls 92 points, the NASDAQ loses 153, the S&P down almost 26. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Well, the federal government shutdown is now in its 7th day.
And there's new uncertainty about whether or not furloughed workers will be entitled any back pay. Erica Brown with the latest from Capitol Hill.
Thank you very much, everybody.
During an Oval Office meeting with Canada's Prime Minister Tuesday, President Trump suggested some furloughed workers could be denied back pay once the government shutdown ends.
It really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
CBS News has learned the White House's Office of Management and Budget is circulating a draft memo suggesting federal employees may not be entitled to back pay despite a 2019 law signed by President Trump after the last government shutdown.
I believe it's a strategic mistake to now let those folks know or let them think that they could potentially not get back pay.
Trump also said he will be announcing layoffs and the elimination of some federal programs within the next 4 or 5 days if the shutdown continues.
A lot of those jobs will never come back.
Here on Capitol Hill, lawmakers remain deadlocked over health care. Democrats want an extension to Affordable Care Act subsidies, but Republicans insist the shutdown should end first.
The government remains shut down right now because of the refusal and unwillingness by Donald Trump and Republicans to actually provide health care to working class Americans.
At some point, we're happy to have that conversation, but not until the government opens up.
The effects of the shutdown are being felt at airports nationwide. Several reported staffing issues Monday night, leading to delays. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
National Guard troops from Texas have arrived at an Army Reserve Center near Chicago, despite a lawsuit filed by the city and the state of Illinois. Their assignments could begin as soon as tomorrow. It comes after a federal judge declined to immediately issue a temporary restraining order ahead of a Thursday hearing. The mayor of Chicago criticized the mobilization of the Texas troops, as well as several hundred Illinois Guardsmen.
It's illegal, unconstitutional, it's dangerous, it's wrong.
If you look at Chicago, Chicago's a great city where there's a lot of crime. And if the governor can't do the job, we'll do the job.
A federal judge temporarily blocked a deployment to Portland, Oregon. The restraining order is in place until October 19th. A Department of Justice appeal will be considered on Thursday.
The Universities of Wisconsin system is looking at ways to standardize some of its graduation requirements across all of its campuses.
But students tell our Arman Rahman that one of the ways they're doing that could drastically change the ethnic studies program, which is offered here at UW-Madison.
Since the 1970s, ethnic studies has been a general education requirement for all undergrads here at UW-Madison. That could soon be changing across the UW system, which has some worried that future students could be losing out on some valuable perspectives.
It was so refreshing, and it really did teach me how to interact with other people differently.
Olani Aboro is talking about her folklore class she took last year to fulfill her ethnic studies requirement. Now she's a student representative on the campus-wide subcommittee that evaluates which courses fit the ethnic studies requirement's mission of giving students skills to navigate what it calls an increasingly multicultural United States. But she says the committee was a bit blindsided by the news there could be some changes this past week by the Universities of Wisconsin system to try to make general education requirements the same across all campuses to make transfer easier under Wisconsin Act 15. However, right now, UW-Madison is the only campus requiring ethnic studies, a change brought on by multicultural student groups in the 1970s.
The problem lies in the fact that the Ethnic Studies Subcommittee wasn't contacted, or we weren't told that part of what's being affected is the Ethnic Studies credit here at Madison, because this is a unique thing that UW-Madison has in their curriculum that other schools don't necessarily have.
A spokesperson with the Universities of Wisconsin system tells me the Board of Regents does not require ethnic studies or cultural diversity courses, but individual universities have discretion there, and that is not subject to change. Reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Arman. The fall-like weather will continue through the work week, and it will get chilly tonight.
Meteorologist Jacob Madison with more on frost expected in the area. Jacob.
Yeah, we're going to see those temperatures dropping into the 30s tonight and tomorrow night. But the good news is that the afternoon hours will feature plenty of sunshine and fall-like temperatures that will be pretty comfortable. Now, once we get to the weekend, we're actually going to see the temperatures warm up a little bit with highs in the 70s. Now, still a lot cooler compared to the 80s that we saw this past weekend, but a little bit warmer than what we've seen the last 2 days. Now, as we take a look at the temperature forecast, again, 30s are expected tonight with some areas further to the north, possibly dropping below freezing. And we don't necessarily need to see the temperatures drop to freezing to see the frost form. So really all of Wisconsin will have the possibility of that frost tonight, but the best chance will be for areas off to the north. Once we get to Wednesday afternoon, a little bit cooler than today. Lower 60s are going to be in the forecast. And then we're going to have another night of potentially 30-degree lows lows in the 30s for Wednesday night. Now, maybe not quite as cool for central Wisconsin as temperatures are expected to stay above freezing, but still going to see some chilly temperatures and the possibility of some frost. Thursday will feature temperatures a little bit warmer than Wednesday, but we're still going to see those fall-like conditions continue with clouds developing Thursday night, which will lead to milder lows Thursday night into Friday morning. Now, I mentioned that some areas could drop to near freezing. I don't expect to see that for Madison, but here's a look at the last 5 years, the first time Madison got to that freezing level. It's right around this time of the year. Now, the earliest we've ever seen it is early September, and the latest we've seen our first freeze was early November. Now, this is just for Madison. The average is October 11th. Now, if we don't see it drop to near freezing tonight or tomorrow night, again, I don't expect it to in Madison, we'll likely see our first freeze a little bit later, as we're not going to see the temperatures be as cold for the rest of the 10-day forecast that they will be tonight or tomorrow night. Now, during all this, not really going to see much rain. Small chance of rain Thursday night and Friday, but for the rest of the week through the weekend, not going to see much. A little bit of the better chance of rain for next week, and in general, we might see a little bit more rain during that time period. But as you can see, nothing is going to be too significant across our area. Now, as we look at the fall color report, this is the first time we're actually seeing peak levels for some counties in northern Wisconsin. Not seeing a lot in southern Wisconsin yet, but with these cooler temperatures, I do expect to see the colors change quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. Now, looking at the weekend forecast for the Badger football game, looking very good. The game's at 6 p.m. Those little bit of warmer temperatures will help keep it not too cool to start, but it definitely is going to be chilly towards the end of the game. So definitely bring a light jacket if you plan on attending. But in general, very nice football weather. And if you're attending the game in Green Bay on Sunday, there's going to be similar conditions further north. So very nice football forecast for the Badgers and Packers game. And in general, a pretty good forecast, especially during the afternoon hours. We'll continue to see some cool mornings and nights, but notice those overnight lows not going to be as cool as we head towards the weekend and for early next week with that cloud cover and the chance of rain.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And ahead at 5, the Green and Gold are preparing to take on the Bengals. What the Packers head coach believes is lacking from those first 4 games. That's just ahead.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Well, the 2-1-1 start to the season for the Packers hasn't met the expectations of head coach Matt LaFleur.
But after the bye week, LaFleur thinks he now knows what's been lacking from their game plan. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more.
Matt LaFleur knows full well what his team's record is, 2-1-1 with a loss to the Cleveland Browns and a tie with the Dallas Cowboys. And so the Packers coach wants to make sure his guys are focusing on 1 week at a time, and that starts with the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. But the key is making sure they play complementary football, something that Matt LaFleur doesn't feel like they've done all season long.
We've got to get better. I'm more worried about getting better each and every game, and you can look at our record right now. We're 2-1-1. Are we disappointed we're not better? Absolutely. But I still think even in the 2 games that we won, I don't think we've put together a full game of complementary football.
Their big opportunity to get back to their winning ways comes Sunday here at Lambeau Field and here on Channel 3 against the Cincinnati Bengals, who've lost 3 in a row since losing Joe Burrow, their starting quarterback, to a toe injury. We'll have full coverage throughout the week and on game day on channel3000.com for free. And while you're there, remember to sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
And as Jason said, you can watch Sunday's game. You can watch the Green and Gold take on the Bengals right here on Channel 3. Kickoff is set for 3:25 on Sunday at Lambeau Field.
And Susan expects complimentary football
I'm learning.
for all 4 quarters. Jacob with a final check of the forecast after a short break.
Turns 50 this year. How a woman developed a program specializing in helping others.
And caught in America's trade war with China, our Eye on America heads to Illinois to speak to farmers who are being squeezed by tariffs. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And then coming up tonight at 6, continuing coverage after Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway unveiled the City of Madison's executive operating budget plans for next year. We'll have that story and more at the top of the hour on News 3 Now at 6.
All right, Susan, here's your story. Finally tonight, a loyal dog comes to the rescue of his grandma. Okaloosa County, Florida Sheriff's Office deputies, that's down near on the Panhandle, they were called to the scene from a distraught husband concerned about his missing wife. She'd gone out on a walk with her son's dog and hadn't returned.
Well, after driving around the neighborhood, a deputy spotted the dog. The dog's name is Eeyore. The faithful four-legged friend then led the deputy to his grandma, and you can hear her. If I would just shut up for a second, you can hear her in the background saying, "Oh, Eeyore, you're a good boy. Grandma loves you."
You do that so well,
It's
Susan.
so
It comes so
sweet.
naturally to you.
As of today, the video shared on the Sheriff's Office Facebook has nearly 100,000 interactions.
And I just can't stop thinking why they named him Eeyore.
That's a good question.
Eeyore. That is a
Good
great
boy.
story. Great story. All right, Jacob's back. Final check, and we're looking at some frost overnight.
Yeah, the next couple of nights we're going to have lows possibly in the 30s, which, as you mentioned, leading to the possibility of some frost, especially for areas north of Madison. Now, the daytime highs are going to be in the 60s, and with the sunshine and very little wind, it'll feel very comfortable. With the temperatures warming up once we get towards the weekend, 70s will be in the forecast. Very small chance of rain Friday, but for the most part, we are going to be dry. The Badger football game Saturday, Packers game Sunday, both are going to feature very, very nice weather. Just bring a light jacket, especially for the Badgers game being in the evening time. And then for next week, we are going to see a few more chances of rain as high temperatures drop back down to the 60s by the end of the 10-day forecast.
It looks like a great weekend.
Yeah,
Those
very,
football
very
games,
nice.
No doubt about it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. The CBS Evening News is coming up next.
And we'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. You can always find us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000+.